So there is also another option on how to pass values from two individual um, sides of any element. So you can actually assign, um, you can declare the property that you're going to change and the side itself. So for example, let's say I want to add a border button, or a border at the bottom of my H1 element, which is this element here. So if I click here, I'm going to add a border bottom to this element. And this is how you do it. So you declare border, and then you do border bottom, and then you pass the values. So remember, for border, we have basically three values. We pass how thick we want the line to be, then what type of line, and then we pass, oh, sorry. I'm going to finish okay. Then red. One thing that I didn't do was to pass the selector. See, I'm human and sometimes I forget things. I was getting so excited about this. So there you go. So now you can see that I have a line at the bottom of my H1. I can also do that with padding and margin. So I can technically come here and say, I want this element, just want to organize a little bit. Sorry. Okay. So I can say margin, no, I'm going to do a padding. So I can do a padding just because I feel my line, it's touching too much, like it's too close between the element, the actual words, and the line. So I'm going to do a padding bottom, and I'm going to do a padding bottom of 5 pixels. So now you can see that my line move a little bit, which is, that's what I wanted. Like I wanted my line to be a little bit far away from the letters. So that's another way to passing values. You can pass like individual values. So also, and you can also apply to any element. So let's say, so I want the paragraph element just to have a margin left of 30 pixels. You can also do that. So basically, if it creates this space here. But yeah, that's how you can also pass values. You can pass the values individually. One thing that I want to show you in this video is how these actually works when you assign width. So this is kind of the last thing on this video. So if you assign a width, and for example, you have 90%, and then you use the margin 0 auto, you are able to center elements. Okay, so I'm gonna explain this using, I'm gonna just change these rules a little bit, and I'm gonna explain this better. So I'm just gonna do I'm gonna do a border, and I'm gonna be 3px solid red. Okay, so this is what's happening. This is how you actually center elements. And this is a really, really good skill to have, because this is one of the things that designers struggle with every day when they work on these kind of things. Okay. So to center elements, you can, if you pass 2 values or you modify 2 attributes, in the box modeling, you can center elements. So first of all, you have to pass a width. And this width can be a relative value, just like 90%, and also can be an absolute value. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so you have to set the width. Now, here's where the magic happens. As I was talking on the video before, when I pass two values, I'm modifying basically the first value modify the top and bottom values of that element, and then the second value is the left and right. When I basically set the second value to auto, what I'm telling the browser is set the width element to whatever value I'm giving you, then calculate how much space is left in its parent element and assign the same amount of value to the left and right. Therefore, the element is gonna center itself. Now, the first value don't have to be necessarily 0. It can be any value. I can put actually 50 pixels here. Oh, sorry. I can put 50 pixels here and the element is still center. Okay? And you can center elements within elements. So this is kind of the advantage. So if I want to do this, I want to do a body element here, and I want to set the width element to 960 pixels, because we're just working with relative absolute values. And then again, I do a margin, and then I'm gonna do top down of 10 pixels, and then I'm do auto. That's gonna center the body element. But now, just to see it, I'm gonna create a border here of 1 pixel solid, and that's gonna be blue. So now you can see, if I make this bigger, you can see that my body element is centered, right? And it stay in the middle, and then it's gonna stay in the middle. Now, because it's an absolute value, it's gonna basically say, hey, it stay 96 pixels, no matter how big, how small the screen is. But when you have more space, just center the element. So I centered, that's my body element. And now I can go, I can actually center my main element too. So I can say, again, setting the width, I can set the width to 800 pixels. I'm gonna set a border, just to see it, a border of 1 pixel XP solid green. So again, I can see it better. And there we go. Now I'm gonna set a margin of 25 pixels top and bottom, and I'm gonna just do auto. Again, center. Okay, so here I have my body element, I have my main element, I have my H1, and then I have my P element. Now I'm gonna center also the P element. So again, we do width, and I'm gonna center to 500, just to keep the consistency between the H1 and the P. And then I'm gonna remove this margin left here because I don't need it anymore. I'm gonna create again a margin of 20 pixels and auto, and I'm gonna create a border of 3px solid red. So now you can see how the elements get centered horizontally in this document. And that's how, this is how kind of the power of the box modeling.